up, please? I'll give you money. Or she'll give you money. Not me, I don't have any money. I'm so glad you guys are here. Okay, is this like VIP and... Oh, you poor commoners. Back there. Oh, my heart goes out to you, poor people.
But you love your coffee.
Can I encroach upon the VIPers? Would you guys like to come closer? Come on down, fill up these spaces. All the VIPers are gonna be like,
this is outrageous. I spent so much money on my VIP badge, and that stupid Vic Mignogna doesn't throw everybody out. I'm leaving. I hate Matsuri, I hate anime. I really hate Vic Mignogna. For letting all those poor commoners come down to the VIP section.
I love you guys. Who said Captain Kirk?
Thank you for helping
I love you as well.
I love you. Woo!
To the people up there, like, he's a little too scary. I'm not moving. I prefer to keep my distance. It's okay. I would keep my distance from me too. No, I wouldn't. Okay, how many of you were here yesterday? Okay, maybe it would be better to say, who's new today? You guys missed a fun panel yesterday, am I right? Mostly because I gave away half my life.
That's right!
Oh, did you pack Usa-chan with something?
My charger and my...
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Okay, speaking of Usa-chan, okay, for those of you that are just here today for the first time, minor adjustment. Why did I just say that? Now, two or 3 days ago, I was cleaning out a storage unit. I used to live in Houston, and I have 3 storage units, and furniture and all kinds of stuff, and lots of amazing gifts that I've been given over the years.
Bless you.
And I thought, well, they could be in one of 2 places. They could either be in a box in storage, or they could be in the hands of the fans that I love and appreciate so much. So as you might have guessed, I decided on the latter. And I gave away a bunch of stuff yesterday, and I'm going to give away more stuff today. So I'm going to see how much of this we can get through, and we'll save some for tomorrow.
Someone dropped their wallet.
Oh, wait, let me see. Somebody dropped their wallet. And looks like I'm going to Papa Do's tonight. Crab dip on me. Who is this? Oh, wait. Can't quite read his driver's license. Morgan Francis Shaw.
Oh no!
Morgan Francis Shaw. Where are you, kid? I'm gonna empty your bank account in about 2 hours.
Oh no!
No, I'm not. I promise. Somebody will go home. Vic Mignogna said he was gonna take somebody's money. What a jerk. Wait, are you here? Morgan Francis Shaw?
You don't want your wallet?
She's shy.
What?
Go get your wallet, man.
Why wouldn't you want your
Are you Morgan Francis Shaw? Really?
Why would you not say that?
You don't like this picture. Wait a minute, I have to test Morgan Francis Shaw. What's your birthday? Dang it, it is. It's good. You look amazing. Oh, absolutely. Hi, guys. So you thought you were safe, didn't you? I hope you never go back to do, okay, all of the larger stuff was on the top yesterday. We got rid of a lot of that, plushies and big things. And so there's a ton of smaller stuff, but that doesn't make it any less special, right? Okay.
Maybe.
Has anyone here ever cosplayed as Nekozawa from Oron? Have you? Then I've got a Beelzebub for you. You are so welcome. You are noticed, princess. Okay, Star Trek fan? Boom, Captain Kirk. Full Metal? Ooh, who likes card games? Full Metal Alchemist trading card game.
Oh, man.
Hey, can I ask a favor? If you got one yesterday, don't play. Okay? I want I want as many people as possible to have something. And I won't remember who I gave them to. They were going so fast yesterday. So, okay. Who can do a good Darth Vader impression? Oh, come here, Mr. Naruto. Believe it! Come here. Do you remember, come here, what's your name? Cameron Rodriguez, say hi to Cameron. Cameron, do you remember the scene when Luke was hanging on to that thing for dear life and Vader was like, come with me, right? And Luke was like, I'll never join you. Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father. He told me enough. He told me you killed him. Do you remember what Vader says next? Luke, you're my father. Oh my gosh, that was the greatest day ever. And hey, listen, don't worry because nobody's videotaping in here.
Oh, really?
Wait, where's your dad?
Dad, raise your hand.
You should be so proud. He just changed history. From now on, it's going to be
Luke, you are my father.
Give it up for Karen! That is that moment right there when he said, you are my father. That's not true. That's impossible! That's Cap. Okay. I'm not a big Klingon fan from Star Trek, but does anyone like the Klingons in here? Do you? Nice little Klingon ship for you. By the way, this is all like official merch that you could buy somewhere. I have no idea what this is.
I'll take it. Yoda?
It's a piece of dog poop. He's like, I'll take it. Dude, little Yoda action for you there.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Ooh, more Star Trek cards. Anybody? Ooh, nice catch. You just saved that guy's eyeball. Right behind you. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Who likes Phantom of the Opera? Did you get a present yesterday? Masquerade. Paper faces on parade. Masquerade. Da 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 da. Oh no. Oh yes. Let's see. Naruto? Oh. Okay. Former Alchemist. They're playing cards. They're playing cards. Wait a minute. And here are playing cards from. Oh, this is a favorite. I want it today. Tsubasa. Tsubasa. Do you know Tsubasa? Promise? What was that sound? That was so cool. Did you hear that? Oh. Is it okay?
Yes, I just dropped it.
Okay, good. That was a cool sound. Subasa for you? What a great show. What? Wait a minute, it's more Vader. Star Wars fans? There you go. Okay. Wow. What? What? You're gonna give me your sister? No. That is a large no. What? You're gonna give me both? You have two.
Oh, God.
Somebody wishes they were an only child. What? Are you a fan of anything? No. Oron. Dadgummit. Oron. Okay, let me dig deep here. Not Oron. Not Oron. Not Oron. Come on. There's got to be an Oron in here. I'm so sorry. 1 second. What? Broly? Darn it. I can't find anything. Wait. Oh, that's Tsubasa again. Oh, that's really pretty. What is that? Oh, cool.
Can I have it?
You guys are like, he completely forgot that we're here right now. Who wishes they would have gotten the family opera thing? Oh, honey senpai.
Can I have another thing in your hand?
Okay. I will get to you, I promise. Just promise you'll keep your sisters, all right? Because they love you. How about, are you a Full Metal fan at all? Well, I like your enthusiasm, sir. Have a nice wallet there. Okay, this is so cool. It's a little, what is it? Oh, it's Full Metal. Have you guys seen one of these? It's a little notepad. Isn't this cool? Look, it's metal, and you take the pen out.
I love taking notes!
I know, it's really neat. And you know what? I also have, oh, this is so cool too. Is it Full Metal? It is. Hey, look at this. Oh my gosh, wait a minute. Oh, this is so cool, you guys, look. It's a calculator.
I love cool things!
It's a Full Metal Alchemist calculator. Okay, let's see. Can I ask you a question? What's 4,019 times 29,000? You need this. See, you didn't know the answer. You didn't answer fast enough, so.
Let's find out.
Okay, I'm gonna start grabbing lots of stuff and handing it out. How about that? You know, there's only one thing better than ramen, and it's Full Metal Alchemist ramen. Did you even know they made this?
I love ramen!
Bro, no, wait a minute, give me that. It's not ramen. I should have not have told him. He would have drank it. It's bubble bath.
I'm always thirsty.
Dude, I don't mean to offend, but you don't look like the bubble bath sort. Do you take a bubble bath?
No,
Tell
but
me
I
the
drink
truth,
soap.
man. Look at all these people. Do you believe it?
No!
Do you believe it?
No!
All right, bubble bath time. We want pictures. But just bubbles covered all the way up here. It's me, I'm taking a bubble bath. Just like I promised, Vic. All right. Oh, is anyone in here hot, needs a fan? A Full Metal fan? Come here, man. This fan would really be better if Mustang was not on it. What is this? Oh, how cool! Okay. Who in here has attended more than 50 anime conventions? Anybody?
Me!
Have you really?
No.
You're at 150?
How?
How do I not know you? Oh my gosh. Hi. Guess what? Look at this. It's a special, it's a Full Metal Alchemist, but it's like a pass, a badge for people that go to things a lot.
Are you
like
immortal?
you. Thank you. Okay, what is this?
But 150? Are you immortal?
And we're gonna find cheers for you, sir. Ooh, I think it's a mouse pad.
Can I
It's a
have
cool
it?
Full Metal mouse pad. Any Star Trek fans? Isn't this fun? I think it's fun. I could be wrong. Oh my! Oh no, that's not.
Can I have it?
There is so much stuff in here, you guys. What in the world? There's a lot of Star Trek stuff in here. I'm sorry. What is that? I keep looking for. Ooh, envy.
I love eating lunch! I have so many sandwiches to know where to put them.
Phones envelope. Who's ever cosplayed as Envy? Who has? Wait a minute, didn't I just give you something? Okay, have you cosplayed as Envy? Have you cosplayed as Envy? There you go. And who remembers Certain Fraud? Anyone Certain Fraud friend? For you, my friend. You know what? Who is? Oh my gosh, he's gonna love this lunchbox. Let me empty it out. Because I have things in it. Okay. I want somebody to promise me that they will glue this very cool Edward Elric bust to the dashboard of their car. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. Oh, here's another action head figure. Even look up here. He's that guy's up here in front like, whoa, Vic's such a jerk, he'll never come here. He'll never be able to leave it. Oh, he's so good. As soon as I put Ed's head back on. Oh, you can put it on for me. There he is, decapitated, alchemist, and over memory. Okay, now, I really like this, and I want to say that I'm sorry that I can't find his can. But that doesn't make it any less cool. Let's just say the ring is not attached yet. You see that? I love it. It's just really cool. Silver Edward.
I'll take it.
And you know what? Isn't this cool? And if somebody's crafty, they can make a hand, right? Who's crafty? Are you crafty? Are you the doctor? Oh, yes. Well, then you should have it. What is in here? Hold on. What is that? No, it's a baby bracelet. I don't think it is. Or is it good for your nose? That'd be weird. I don't even know what this is. It's a mystery. Yeah, it's a mystery. Yeah, who wants? Do you know? Please, if you figure out what it is, tell me. All right? And let's see. I will take these. And then you may have that awesome lunchbox. You are so welcome. I love you guys. Okay. Oh, here's a very cute little Ed pin. Oh, you are perfect for this. Look. And you know what? Because you're dressed as Ed, have that for your phone. for your keyring. Yes.
You gave me mono, but no kiss.
That was a really good pun.
See, this is how I get in trouble. Okay, you see that? I'm not doing anything. Your first panel ever? There, you know what? I love you. There is no chance in hell I'm kissing you. I mean, I can't, right? How could I possibly? That's the kind of thing that gets you know? I'm kissing you in my heart right now. All right.
I'll do it.
Really? Is it a little Broly? Oh my gosh. And you add water and he grows, right? This is awesome. Who's the Broly fan in here? You are so welcome. Let me see. Okay. We have a little bit. Ooh, that's nice. Oh my goodness. Anybody dressed as Edward here besides the young lady I just met? Any
I am.
other Eds in here? Oh my gosh, there's two of them. Well, then, in that case, I must give you two things. Ooh, here's a beautiful full metal pencil board. Sorry. Look at this, bro. It's a miniature of his spear. It is so cool. Thank you. You guys look amazing. Kept it from feet back. Yay. Okay. Maybe we'll keep the rest of them for. What is this? This looks nice.
It is nice. Can I have it?
Any other Ed cosplayers in here?
Any who?
Is there an Ed cosplayer over there? Oh, look at her over here. She's like, don't out me. This is pretty nice. You might like it. Isn't that beautiful? Go ahead and take it. Go ahead and take it. I'm going to keep the box. Because there's a message on the back and I want to keep it. Thank you. Okay. So here's a very important question. How many of you are going to be here tomorrow? Okay, we will give away the rest of this tomorrow. Well, then I'm not coming. Are you a Star Trek fan? Dude, how about some Star Trek coasters, baby? That's what I'm talking about. I am. I'm right there. Yes. Okay, hey Kyle. Is Kyle here? You guys, this is my assistant, and he's amazing. Give it up for Kyle. Thank you, guys. Away. Merch box. What? Yes, Kyle is my hero. Kyle's been taking pictures for us all day, and when, not if, but when you come down to the table to say hi, you'll get to meet Kyle. Kyle will give you a kiss. Because he's my liaison, right? So you're like, Kyle, kiss that woman. And he's like, yes, sir. Kyle, stop kissing her now. Kyle! I have somebody I'd like you to meet. Come here.
Oh
no! She's cute. I'm setting you up, buddy. Kyle, hurry. She's gonna change her mind. Come here. Oh, yeah. Matchmaker, make me a match. Kyle, kiss the girl. How was it? Was it good? Kyle. Is that pervy? That's not pervy, is it? That's fun and friendly, right? Apparently I don't have have a really good censor. Right, I'm putting people together. It's magical. That's right. Thank you. Somebody needs to understand. I'm Italian. Do you know what Italians do? They hug people. We hug, that's what we do. All the time. Whether you want it or not, know what I mean? So, okay, so, okay, let me think about, shift gears in the old brain here. Thank you for being here. I never thought I would be so grateful. You know how when you get to do something, right there, make a note, that spot, dead spot. You know how when you do something a lot for many years, you kind of get used to doing it. And you kind of, dare I say, take it for granted. Maybe not really take it for granted, but just, you know, you don't expect there to be any reason for it to ever be different. So, where I am right now in my life, I am appreciating this opportunity more than I ever have before. You know, I've been in this industry 20 years, and I've done over 300 different animated series and video games, and I just thought it was just always going to be that way, you know? But you never know what's around the next corner, good or bad. So I just want you guys to know that I have an all-new gratitude for each of you and for you being here. I know some of you even came a long way, and there are no words for me to tell you how much it means to me. I hope to get to meet and say hello and take photos, whatever, with all of you. But thank you. If I haven't said enough, remember what I said yesterday? I'm going to say thank you 100 more times. So thank you so much for being here. So who has a fun question?
I don't have a question.
I love that. You should get together with Cameron over here. Because Cameron changed Darth Vader's line. And I said, who has a question? He goes, I don't have a question. You have a request?
Yes, please.
I'm scared already. Shall I call Kyle out?
No. My boyfriend loves Dragon Ball Z, and I was wondering if you could send him a video. He's not here.
Oh, where is he?
He's at home working, probably.
At home?
Maybe working.
What's at home? Maybe working. Maybe not. What is his name?
His name's Antonio.
Antonio? Okay, what's your name?
Lily.
Lily? Okay, go ahead and hit the record button, Lily. Hi, Antonio! Everybody say hi to Antonio.
Hi, Antonio!
Antonio, you said Lily?
Yes.
Lily says you're probably at home working. None of us believe that. We're sure you're doing something else. But listen, when you and Lily have a baby, I want you to name him Kakarot. And as you lay him down in his crib, lean into him closely with all the love in your heart and say, Kakarot. Thanks, Antonio. Question? Who's got a question? Hi.
When you were filming the Fullmetal Alchemist, did you have to go against somebody to over?
Oh, what a great question. I'm going to tell you that story. I'm so glad you asked. You guys, when Full Metal, I was living in Houston, recording at ADV here in town, and I had been doing a few things in Dallas at Funimation at that point in time. Probably, let's see, I'd done Broly by then. Started doing Broly. Yu Yu Hakusho. Anybody remember that audition, and a gentleman up there named Justin Cook, who you might know as a voice actor from Yu Yu Hakusho and a lot of other things. Justin called me one day and he said, "Hey, I want to know if you'll come up and audition for this new show we've got. It's called Full Metal Alchemist." And I said, "Oh, I just finished doing a show called Full Metal Panic. Are they similar?" And he's like, "No, nothing alike." And so I said, "Sure, I will." So I came up there to Dallas, and I was sitting in they had a little break room at the time. Funimation was in this tiny bank building on one floor, and they had a little break room, and in the break room they had a round table with a bunch of loose leaf binders. And in the binders were the different characters from the show, at least the first handful that they needed to cast for pretty quickly. And I'm looking through this binder, and I'm reading the different characters' profiles. So what they call these character sides. And what they typically are, you guys, is it's one sheet of paper, and it'll have a picture of the character, and then a description of the character, and then 4 or 5 lines that the character would say. And that's what you would use for your audition. So I'm sitting in the break room looking over the different characters. I'm like, Roy Mustang. Alex Armstrong, Louis Armstrong. He's big. I don't sound big. I can fake it, but, right? So I'm looking through, and then I see Alphonse, and I see Edward Elric. Now, you guys, I don't know what Full Metal is. So I don't know who Ed is. I don't know what role he plays in the show. I know nothing. I'm like, he looks cool. So Justin comes out of the studio and he says, "You ready to audition?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Did you have a chance to look at the sides?" And I said, "Yeah, I like this guy, this teenage kid, he looks fun." And Justin said to me, "I'm so glad, because we have an issue. Otakon in Baltimore was coming up in like a month or 2 months in August, and so this was probably like in June." And he said, "Larkin Seal, who sang Ready, Steady, Go, was going to be the music guest at Otakon." And so Justin said, they want us to have the first episode of Full Metal dubbed already to show at Otakon. And he said, "We're really under the gun here with time. So what I want to do is I want you to record the whole first episode as Ed." And he said, "This doesn't mean you're cast. We're going to look at the long-term casting after we get past Otakon. But we just have to get something recorded to show at Otakon. Okay?" So I went in there, into the booth, and we started with episode 1, with Father Cornello, right? And was it Leor? Was that the city? Yeah, it was Rose, remember all of that? And the fake Father Cornello and the fake stone. So. And the first line in the first episode is Ed saying, alchemy, the transmutation of such and such, and I'm like, wow, it's got the first line of the show. Cool. And as we continued to the episode, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this guy's like important. And then we got to the line where he's like, "I'm the Full Metal Alchemist." I'm like, wait a minute. He's the guy, he's the character. And so we finished the show, the first episode. And I left thinking, oh my gosh, I would love to play this character. But not cast, not officially cast, just get the first episode done. So they did. And then like 3 weeks later, somebody from a game recording company in Dallas called me and said, "Hey, they want to release the Full Metal Alchemist video game at the same time as it shows up and premieres on Cartoon Network. So we need to start now because it takes a long time to prepare video games, get them all recorded, right?" So he's like, "You did Ed for the thing, so we want you to come up and do Ed for the video game. But it doesn't mean you're cast." So I did the video game, one it was. It might have been Broken. What's the name? Crimson Elixir was one. Broken Angel. Yes. Anyway, so I did the video. Otakon came and went. They showed the episode. And then I found out that the Japanese company that owned Full Metal Alchemist were actually the ones casting the show. Now, what you may or may not know is there are hundreds and hundreds of anime series, right? And for the most part, the companies that dub them cast them. But when it comes to a big name title, that the Japanese company that created it cares very deeply how it is presented. They want a say in who plays these roles. So shows like Bleach, Naruto, even DBZ to an extent, Full Metal, you know, those kind of shows, the creators they make the ultimate decision. What happens is a studio will compile a bunch of auditions and then send the auditions to the Japanese, who will listen to them, and then they'll write the studio back and say, we want this guy for him, and we want this girl for her, and that's what happened with Full Metal. I found out, thank goodness, that the Japanese wanted Ed to sound more like a guy. In the original, Romy Park voiced him, and a young lady voiced Alphonse, right? But in the English version, the creators wanted it to be a guy that voiced Ed. Thank goodness, right? Because if they wanted it to be a girl, then we wouldn't be talking about this. So ultimately, they contacted me and said, okay, the Japanese like what you did with Ed, you're going to be playing this character. And that's how I got to play him. That's it. Yes. Broly was a funny story because back then, Dragon Ball was nowhere near as big as it is now. I mean, it was popular, sure, but I didn't even know what it was. Like, they called me, a friend of mine I went to a convention, just like this, and I met some people from Funimation. I didn't even know what Funimation was. I worked down here at ADV, and as I was doing conventions, I would meet people from other studios. So I met these guys from Funimation, and then a couple of days after we all went home, I got a phone call. And whoever it was, I can't even remember, said, hey, this is so-and-so, I met you at such and such a convention this weekend, I'm from Funimation in Dallas. I'm like, oh, hey. And he said, would you like to play a character in Dragon Ball Z? And I said, sure. What's Dragon Ball Z? See, that's the right answer for an actor, right? Yes, what am I doing? Like, before you even know, right? So he said, well, there's this movie coming up, and there's this, can you do like a low, mean, kind of a angry kind of a character? And I said, I don't, what do you mean, like on the phone? Like right now? And he goes, yeah, just say something. On my phone, I'm like, I will kill you. And he's like, okay, that's good, that's fine, you're in. And literally, that was it. And so then I went up and I recorded, and okay, so I didn't know anything about Dragon Ball. So I didn't know that you had to have a Teflon larynx to play a character in Dragon Ball. So I go up to Dallas, and I get into this studio, and I am ready. I am so gung-ho, right? I'm gonna tear this thing up. I'm gonna give it every ounce I have. So from the very get-go, you know, I'm like I am, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. Oh good, he left. It's like the sound guy's like, So I was going at it, right? I was giving it everything I could. And by about noon, I sounded like this. And I was like, uh-oh, I can't, I don't have anything left. And the director's like, well, go home and rest your voice, drink a lot of water, shut up, don't talk to people, and we'll reschedule you to come back a week later. So I went home, and a week later I went back and I finished movie 8. And sounded like this at the end again, right? And so when I finished movie 8, I was like, oh, thank God. I got least he's dead. What do I know, right? So a year later, they call me and like, hey, Broly's back, movie 10. And I'm like, what? Wait, he died. I saw it, I was there. And he's like, no, he's back. Like, okay. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna be more careful this time, right? I'm not gonna let it rip. But I did anyway, because that's just my nature. I'm just one of those people, you know what I mean? Like if we're gonna go out and throw a football, I will dent your chest. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you wanna throw it as hard as you can, and you wanna throw something as far as you can, and you wanna kick it as, you know, sports, and just, you know, you wanna give it everything you've got. And that's the way I am with voice acting. I will throw everything I have into a role, and it doesn't even matter what it is. I want it to be the best I can do. So I went back up and I did movie 10. I was like, oh, thank you. Now he's dead now, right? And then he comes back in movie 11, and now he's nothing but a pile of pudding, right? He doesn't even talk anymore, he just, what is that? So, when 11's done, I looked at the engineers and the people at the studio. I'm like, okay, he's dead now, right? Like, come on, he's Jello. Like, what else can you do with this guy, right? And they're like, yes, he's gone. Good news, right? I made it through. I still could talk and even sing a little. And so I lost a couple of my high range notes there, but I got through it. So, well, I did Broly. Wow, that's awesome. I got to play that cool character. On with my life. And like, I don't even know, a few months later, hey Vic, we have this Dragon Ball video game. And Broly is in it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I went up and did the video game. And it was like, you know, the video game. It's nothing but like screaming, fighting, Kakarot, Kakarot, Kakarot. Scream, fight, Kakarot. Fight, scream, Kakarot. So I did the video game, and I sounded like this at the end, just like before. But I did it. And then there was another video game. And another. And another. And another. And I think somebody told me I'd done 13 video games. So here's the deal. When the new movie was announced, I was really excited. Now it's following me. It's no longer there, now it's here. Because you guys, I love Broly. He just doesn't love me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm proud to be a part of it. I am honored to be a part of such an iconic show. I just wish my voice was a little more resilient. It's just not, you know? I have my voice, you know, especially when you yell a lot. I'm not really good at that, at least preserving my voice. So I was really excited to play him, and everyone's like, bet you're hating life, Broly's back. I'm like, no, I'm honored to play the character, and I will do everything, I will give it my best, because that's the job. I'm not gonna go in there and go, rah. Is that good? No, because I'm gonna give it my best, even if I sound like this at the end. So the good news with the new movie was, it's a different Broly, right? This is now the canon Broly. This is Toriyama's Broly. And because it was a different Broly, they even said, look, you don't have to do the real low, you know, chesty, that kind of thing. You don't have to do that. You can, and so when he spoke, you heard when he spoke, oh my gosh, when he told the story about Ba and Ba's ear, and oh, I loved it so much. And I was able to use my own voice as Broly. And it was nice. Although I must tell you, when I asked them what the line count was, they said, well, you have 26 speaking lines and 520 yelling, fighting. And if you've seen the movie, you know that's probably exactly right. So, sorry, that was a long Broly story, but that's how I played Brooke and have been doing them all these years. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, with that awesome hat.
What was it like getting to play Captain Kirk?
Oh my gosh. How many weeks are you going to be in Houston? Because we can talk about that all day, bro. Did you really? Thank you, man. What's your name? Bobby? Robert? It's a pleasure. Thank you, man. Thanks, man. Yes, you guys, let me tell you. I told you a little bit about this yesterday. About 6 years ago, I decided I wanted to fulfill a childhood dream. I hope all of you get to do that. Because there's nothing quite like it. Doing something, 30, 40 years later that meant the world. Could you imagine if, like, you grew up loving, I don't know, let's use Full Metal. If you grew up loving Full Metal Alchemist, Robert, and you were you ended up becoming an actor, and like somebody, you become a professional actor, and then your agent calls you one day and says, hey, do you want to audition for this live action thing? I've never heard of it before, but it's some Japanese thing called Full Metal Alchemist. You'd be like, yes! Right? You'd be there in a heartbeat. Like, you would pay them to let you be a part of it, right? So, I spent the lion's share of my life trying to develop and perfect skills that I first tried because of Star Trek. For instance, making props, or making costumes, or shooting a little movie, or building models, all of that. I was like 9 or 10, I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. I'd never built anything in my life. But then I fell in love with this show, and suddenly I wanted to get tape and glue and balsa wood and whatever I could find to make a communicator or a phaser. And then I would go to school, and my friends at school were like, I like Star Trek too. And we would play Star Trek in school during recess. We'd run around in the woods behind the school with the phasers that we'd made. And then I started making got my mom to make uniforms for me, right? And after a short while, she was like, you can make your own uniforms. I'm sick of making Star Trek uniforms for you. So she taught me how to use her sewing machine so that I could make my own uniforms. And I would round kids in the neighborhood up, and I would make them wear the uniforms that I made, and then we would make little movies. This is before there was video, you guys. There weren't video cameras. They were 8mm and Super 8mm movie cameras, home consumer movie cameras. And I would hang a model of the Enterprise up in front of a black poster board, and then I would run past it so that the ship looked like it was going by the camera. And they're online. Yes, you can go to YouTube and look up Vic's Vintage Voyages, and you can see me this big around, like 12 or 13 years old. But Star Trek, what I'm getting at here is Star Trek inspired me to try all of these production things that I'd never tried before. It so inspired me, and you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Because for you, it may be anime, or a video game, or something that you watched, and you're like, I want to make that costume. And a little voice in your head says, you've never made any costumes. You don't know how to do that, but you did it anyway, and it turned out great. And you realized that you had a talent for that. Or you watched an anime and you're like, I want to draw that character. And the little voice in your head, that is not your friend, by the way, says, you've never drawn anything. You can't draw. What do you think you are, an artist? But you tried it anyway because you were so in love with that show, right? And you found out you were really good at it. You had a natural, God-given talent for drawing, or writing a story, or acting, or dancing, or singing, or making props, or making costumes. I'm you. I mean, we have that in common. I told you guys yesterday, when I was a little kid, my mom would take me to Star Trek conventions, just like an anime convention. And I was there with all of these people dressed in uniforms they made, and meeting the stars from the show, the actors, and getting autographs. So my whole life has almost led up to this moment 6 years ago when I said, you know what? I want to make a Star Trek episode. I want to make one as close to what I remember the original series of Star Trek was like. The storytelling, the theme, the moral story, you know what I mean? The ethical questions, the social issues that the original Star Trek took on, which is why it's still popular today. And so you know what? I thought, I'm gonna rent a building, and I'm gonna get a whole bunch of people together, and we're gonna make the sets. We're gonna rebuild the sets exactly the way they were in the original Star Trek. And then I'm gonna bring a bunch of my friends together who are good actors, and we're gonna make an episode. So we made an episode, we built the sets and made an episode, and we put it out. We didn't know what people would think, but people really enjoyed it. It was very well received, and then we made 10 more. We've made 11 full-length episodes. We have over 10 million viewers, and we've won 24 awards. It's beautiful. And you know why it's beautiful? Because it has absolutely zero to do with money. It has everything to do with passion and heart. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with how much am I being paid and what am I going to get on the back end of this and what's my percentage. No. This was a bunch of people who loved Star Trek and wanted to pay tribute to it. And so we did this beautiful thing, and you can find it, and it's all free to watch at StarTrekContinues.com. If you have not seen it yet, please go and check it out, okay? You'll see a lot of familiar faces there, because some of my favorite, some of the best voice actors are also great actors. Like we talked about yesterday, acting first. Todd Haberkorn plays Spock. Chuck Huber plays Dr. McCoy. Anybody in here watch Mythbusters? Mythbusters is awesome, right? Grant Imahara from Mythbusters is Sulu. Does anybody in here a big enough Star Trek fan to tell me who played Scotty in the original Star Trek? Anybody remember his name? James Doohan. Jimmy Doohan played him in the original Star Trek. His son, Chris Doohan, is playing his dad's role. Can I tell you something? The first day that Chris walked out onto the bridge in the uniform exactly as his father, he started tearing up. And he said, I'm actually doing what my father did 50 years ago. Like, I'm looking around this set, and this is what my father saw. This is what he did 50 years ago. How cool is that? So, check it out. They're great episodes. You will love the storytelling. They're wonderful. They're wonderful. Yes, my dear. You mean Kiss Kiss Fall in Love? You know what? I don't know the song well enough to sing it. I do remember I run and run 1,000 miles, and I'm barely breathing. Only the fuel of this something keeps me blah 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 and moving forward. Could it be I found a place to rest? I'll fire until it's okay. Trees of the blah 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 blah. Make this da 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 and Star Trek. I know that's in there somewhere. Yes. Oh my gosh! I'm so glad you mentioned that. I keep forgetting that I directed that show, and I'm so proud of it. How many of you have ever heard of Junie Tyson? Zodiac Wars? Oh my gosh, I directed it for Funimation. I actually moved to Dallas and lived in a hotel for 3 months and directed that show every night for 12 weeks. I loved it. It was such a great show. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Did you see it? Did you like it? It wasn't. Hey, who was your favorite? Who was your favorite character? Really? Oh my gosh. It's such a great show, you guys. Check on and in answer to your question, I was so thrilled because you know they're all different kinds of anime, and some are better than others. I mean, can we be honest, right? I mean, there's a lot of great ones, and then there's some crappy ones. They're not so good. So I was just going to direct a show, and I didn't know what show I was going to direct. So when I went up there and they told me this is your show, and here's the first episode, and start casting, boom, 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 get it done because it's a simuldub. You guys know about the simuldubs, and it's like 100 miles an hour all the time to get those things done every week. So I didn't know what kind of show I was going to be assigned, because that's really it. You don't walk in and go, oh, I think I'll do that one. No, it's like whatever. You take this one and you like it, you know? It's like whatever we give you, you'll do it. And so when I started reading, watching the first episode and looking into the show, I'm like, hey, this is pretty cool. I wonder where it's going to go. Because by the way, I have no idea where it's going to go, right? I saw the first episode, and you know when I see the second one? When it comes out and I have to cast it and record it. Like, that quick. There was no time to prepare. I knew nothing. I would cast somebody. Like, I would cast, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. You guys know who Stephanie Young is? Stephanie Young, great voice actor. She played Armstrong's sister, Olivia, in Full Metal. She's amazing. Okay, she's awesome. So I think she's a great voice actor. In the first episode of Jeannie Tyson, there's this character named the Boar, and she is this assassin, and she is her zodiac sign is the Boar, right? She was so freaking cool. She had these machine guns and really cool. Badass woman, right? And Stephanie is a great actress. She's got that real, cool, dark voice. And so I cast her thinking, for all I knew, she must be one of the main characters because she's like all over the first episode, right? I get to the end of the episode and she gets killed. And I was like, oh my gosh. I cast this great voice actor because I thought it was going to be an ongoing role. I didn't know. So what I started to learn was every week, somebody else dies. And I don't even know who it is. I watch the episode Sunday night or Saturday night, and then I start casting Sunday. And we start recording Monday. Like, that's how quick it's got to happen. So every week, I was just as surprised as anybody else to find out who died. And so you didn't know. You didn't know where the show was going. And when I got even a few episodes in, I told the people at Funimation, like, thank you for assigning me this show because it's amazing. And one of them said, well, you can thank this guy because he was the one that, Michael, because he was the one that he thought this was a really great show, one of the better titles that we were doing this simuldub season, and he gave it to you. I'm like, thank you, Michael. I love you. Yes? What's my favorite anime that I've been in? Full Metal. And you know what, man? I gotta be honest with you. For a long time, I was always afraid I would never answer that question, honestly. Because I love you guys so much, and I want to give you a good experience, right? So if somebody comes up to me, like the twins here, I know. You're both in your awesome orange outfits. If they came up to me and said, who's your favorite character you've ever played? I look at them, I'm like, oh, definitely the king. Tomik is my favorite. You beautiful commoners. Right? So,
Commoner section.
I don't know.
I'm the king.
You are the king.
Why was I over there?
I don't know. His head was good. You know, and if somebody comes up to me, like, you know, one of these guys over here, like, who's your favorite? I'm like, oh, Broly, love. You know, I would look them over, and if they're wearing like a Vampire Night necklace, or you know, or Full Metal, or whatever, I would usually say, or Ruby, I would, oh, I love Uncle Crow. He's a good guy. And so I would always say whatever I thought maybe they would like. Until we finished recording Brotherhood. And I still remember so vividly recording that last monologue of Ed's when he was getting on the train after he says goodbye to Winry, and he's like, there's no such thing as equivalent exchange. You know that one? Yeah, exactly. You know, sacrifices are necessary, but if you can endure the pain and rise above it, you'll find that you have a heart strong enough to overcome any obstacle. Yeah, a heart made full metal. And when I realized that was the end, when I realized that was quite probably the last time I would ever play that character, I got pretty emotional about it. And I even put my phone on the ledge of the window and recorded me doing that last thing, just to have it, you know, as a keepsake. And so from that point on, I pretty much have to tell people, yeah, Ed's probably the thing I'm most proud of. Tamaki is a very close second place. But I really enjoy all of them, so it's very difficult to pick one. You know, if you really love what you do, it's really all varying degrees of fun. You know what I mean? It's all varying degrees of privilege and gratitude for getting to do them. I've never done anything like I hate it, and oh, I can't believe I'm doing this, what a stupid character, this is dumb. No, I enjoy them all very much. I know these people in the back probably don't think I'm ever going to call on them. Yes. Oh my gosh. Are these Apple? They're my favorites. I love you. Thank you. Hey, Kyle? Are you here? Hey, come here, man, would you? Kyle, come here, man. Kyle, come here, you good boy. Who's the best boy? Kyle, would you give this young lady, oh wait, would you give this young lady a hug from me, please? No, stop it. You have to have a thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. Who has not had Apple IG? Oh my gosh, are you kidding? Oh my goodness. Let me try one. Indulge yourselves. Obviously, love isn't love until you give it away, alright? So, you gotta enjoy it. Yeah, I feel now you need to throw it. Voice actor kills dozens in tragic Haichu incident. What? Oh. Oh, there must be a hole in the bag.
Oh no! Frat!
It's a holy bag. See what I did there? I'm gonna keep one for myself, okay? No, you get. I've given you so many presents, dude. Oh, you have a question? Okay. Ask your question.
In the anime Ghost Stories.
I don't even want to hear this question.
I'm scared.
you have to do for the character Da Vinci?
This Haichu's good. I'll get back to you. Still thinking. Dang, that's good. Those apple Haichus are great. Bananas are kind of good too. The banana Haichus, great. You know what? Ghost Stories was weird. And here's the thing, you guys. You know, most of the Japanese companies that create anime, they want to preserve the anime as best they can into other languages. But occasionally, somebody will do a show and it doesn't do very well over in Japan, and so they'll be like, do whatever you want with it. And that was Ghost Stories. Apparently it didn't do well, and so the creators sold the license to ADV, or rented the license to them, and they basically said, look, do whatever you want. Like, we don't even care what you do with it. Well, you don't tell that to a bunch of perverts. Because they had a field day. I mean, they came in and said whatever they wanted. There was no script. I'm not kidding. Like, they'd bring voice actors in, and you'd watch the character's mouth flaps, and you'd make something up. I mean, they'd make fun of me all the time, right? I remember I heard them saying that they did that, and then the director called me in to play a character. Now, I didn't know any of the stuff I just told you about Ghost Stories when he called me to do a character. I had no idea what the other voice actors were doing. And so I thought, oh, Ghost Stories, it's probably about ghosts and stories about ghosts. I didn't know, right? Stupid me for thinking the title has anything to do with the show, right? So I went in, and the guy and Stephen Foster was the guy that was directing it, and Stephen goes, okay, you're gonna play this guy Da Vinci. And he had like a skeleton face, right? And I'm like, well, so tell me about him. He's like, well, there's really nothing to tell because there's really no script. So we're just gonna wing it. I'm like, how's that work exactly? So we just literally just kind of, how are we doing? How are we doing on time? 20 minutes? Okay. 40 minutes? No, I have to get back downstairs. There are people downstairs that are gonna stone me when I get back. You told us you'd be right back.
4 hours!
Kyle, kill that man. Kyle does it all. He's a kisser, he's a killer, he's a hugger. What did he say? Yes. Kyle, they're gonna sing to you later. You're a lover, you're a fighter, you're a kisser, you're a killer. So the director was literally like, he would literally say something about this. Say something about somebody's clothing, this character's clothing, and I'd be like, okay, let me see it again. And I'd watch the character do his thing, and then I would make up something, or he would make up something, and that's literally how it went. Yeah, complete improv. It was crazy. And by the way, I didn't realize how kind of, for lack of a better word, edgy that it was. And I get myself in trouble, as you know. Doing things that I don't realize, like, I'll do the show and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. This show was like, kind of questionable. So when I've done a show that I didn't realize anything about the character, or I found out after the fact, after it was too late to go, I'm good, I'm not gonna do that. I get involved, it's too late, and so with Ghost Stories, that's what happened, and I told the director, can I use a screen name? A fake name, I wanna use a fake name. I don't want my name put on this show. And the director's like, sure, what name do you want to use? This is the worst decision I've ever made. I said to him, I don't care, you make up something. And then I left. And months later, the Ghost Stories DVD that I'm on comes out. And the name that he made up for me, he knew I was a Star Wars fan. Do you remember my name in my screen name of the show? Obi Frost Tips. That's right, everyone. I am Obi Frost Tips. Vic Mignogna is kicked out of the industry, but Obi Frost Tips is back. I'll just start doing shows under the name Obi Frost Tips, and you'll know it's me. You know, I just remembered another fake screen name that I used one time. What was the name of that show? Dirty Pair. Anybody remember Dirty Pair? It was about these two girls, and they were like, I don't even remember the show. I was in it, but that was 300 shows ago. And they were like assassins or something, right? And they had these really cool outfits, and so I didn't know anything about it. And when I went in to do my character, I was like, ooh, this is another one of those shows. I'm like, oh, I feel weird being a part of this. So I said, can I use a fake name? People do that, right? And the director was like, sure. What name do you want to use? Well, this time I made up a name. So if you ever watch Dirty Pair, look for the voice acting stylings of Steele Von Ram.
And the famous German voice actor, Steele Von Ram.
What does that even mean? I don't even know. Yes, ma'am.
What would you feel about a reboot of Kakashi?
I loved Kakashi. Did anyone watch Kakashi when it was on Cartoon Network? I loved that show. I love Yoshimori. I wish there were more. Yeah, he was really great. And Laura Bailey as Tokine. Laura's one of the best voice actresses I know. That would be great. Hey, I want to take a minute to talk about something I talked about yesterday, remember? I told you I was going to talk about it again because there would be people here today that were not here yesterday. For those of you that are here today, we kind of talked about some heavy stuff yesterday, right? Hopefully it was good. Hopefully it was positive and encouraging. That's what I want more than anything. But what I want to encourage you guys to do, if I don't ever get to see any of you again, or a lot of you again, this is the only event that you come to that I get to see you at. I want to leave you with this encouragement. Everybody in this room, indeed everybody on the planet Earth, wants to feel noticed. They want to feel valuable. Everybody wants to feel like somebody is paying some attention to them, that they matter to somebody somewhere. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people in the world who want that attention so badly that they will do anything to get it, or say anything to get it. That the highlight of their month is if 50 people like their post. That's a dangerous road to go down, you guys. It's a very dangerous road. You certainly wouldn't ever want anyone to turn that on you, right? So my encouragement to you is this. I get everybody wanting to be noticed. I get everybody wanting to feel valued and worth something. I want that. And I know you do too. But having said that, let me please encourage you. Get noticed for doing something good. Become acknowledged for saying something positive, for accomplishing something. It is no great badge of honor to be known for tearing somebody apart. Is it? You know, if you really think about it. And I know, I've pictured this in my mind so many times. I've pictured a very sweet, kind, young anime fan sitting in their bedroom on their computer, and they think nobody knows who they are. Nobody would care if they disappeared tomorrow. They feel completely invisible. Many of you may even know what I'm talking about. And then they see something online, or they even start something. They think, I could post something here, and people would notice me, and I would get a little bit of attention from it. And and so they start down that path. Please don't do that. The world has plenty of people in it that are mean-spirited, that are unhappy with themselves, and so they somehow want to feel better by hurting other people. You know what I mean? It's like you see somebody that's maybe doing well, or somebody that's succeeded at something, or somebody that's accomplished something, and you can have one of two responses. You can either be like, bless that person. I'm going to work harder to try to do that myself, to try to achieve that myself, right? That would be the positive response. I'm going to use that example as a motivation to work harder myself and to perfect my skills in this area, or to get better at this, or to be more excellent at that. That would be the proper positive response. The negative response, which is all too often the more chosen response, is, I want to pull that person down. I can't stand that they've accomplished this, or that my friend got this opportunity and I didn't, right? And you get so caught up with envy, or loneliness, or jealousy, or any number of negative emotions. And so you end up lashing out at other people, or trying to pull other people down.